Hey everyone, it's Caslo, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for the next segment of my RPG Club playthrough of Trails in the Sky, first chapter. But what is the RPG Club? I've been an avid listener of the podcast The RPG Years, and its predecessor podcasts, The RPG Golden Years and The RPG After Years. The podcast focuses on RPG reviews and news. They regularly do a community event known as the RPG Club. Imagine a book club, but for RPGs. They break up a community-chosen RPG into digestible chunks, usually about 5 hours, and discuss those segments every 2 weeks like a book club. If you want to check out the RPG Years, you can find a link in the description below. Chapter 1 opens at the Bright household, where Estelle, Joshua, and Shara share dinner and agree to travel to Bose to investigate the missing airliner and uncover what happened to Cassius. The next morning, they report their plans to Ina at the Bracer Guild. While Shara finishes up preparations in her office, Estelle and Joshua visit the town's clock tower, an emotional place for Estelle. 10 years earlier, during the war, an Erebonian artillery strike hit the clock tower while Estelle was there. She was watching her father's battle from afar. Her mother shielded her from the blast, sacrificing her life to save Estelle. Ever since, Estelle has avoided the rebuilt tower, but now she climbs it again to pray for her mother's protection on their journey. At the tower's base, the pair reunite with Shara, who shares her own story of growing up in a circus before training under Cassius to become a bracer. With their resolve strengthened, the trio sets out for Bose. Upon arriving in Bose, the group checks in at the Bracer Guild and meets the receptionist, Old Man Lugren. They learn that the Royal Army is handling the airliner investigation under a strict gag order, keeping both the public and the guild in the dark. General Morgan, a known bracer skeptic, has even barred bracers from certain areas. Fortunately, the mayor of Bose has submitted a separate request for the guild to investigate the disappearance. However, before Estelle and Joshua can accept it, they must first transfer their registration from Roland to Bose, since junior bracers cannot take missions outside their home region. The trio finds Mayor Maybell in the bustling Bose market. Over lunch, she explains her reasons for the request. With the air routes grounded, Bose's economy has collapsed, and several wealthy merchants vanished with the Lindy. She gives them a letter of introduction for General Morgan, requesting his cooperation, and advises them to visit Hawken Gate, but not to reveal their bracers. Hawken Gate sits northeast of Bose on the Erebonian border, serving as a checkpoint for travelers. When the group arrives, they learn that General Morgan is away, so they wait at the nearby inn. There, they meet Olivier, a flamboyant Erebonian bard, who takes an immediate interest in Joshua, especially his amber eyes. When Morgan returns, the group seeks an audience. The general explains that the Lindy disappeared between Bose and Roland, and that the army suspects hijacking. A ransom note from the Capula family seems to confirm it, but the meeting derails when Estelle accidentally reveals that they are bracers. Tensions flare between the group and Morgan, until Olivier interrupts with a soothing song that diffuses the argument. In gratitude, the trio escorts Olivier back to Bose. After reporting back to Mayor Maybell, the group teams up with Niall from the Liberal News. The reporter shares a lead. Someone in Ravenou Village saw a large shadow in the sky on the night the Lindy vanished. He also mentions that Colonel Richard and the Intelligence Division have joined the investigation. In Ravenou, the group meets a boy named Louis, who insists he saw 2 shadows heading north, one large and one small. Although the army searched the northern trail, they found nothing. Following their own hunch, the group investigates and discovers a locked mine entrance with air seeping from within. After retrieving the key from the village chief, they explored the abandoned mine and uncover the missing Lindy and a group of sky pirates led by Kyle Capula, loading stolen cargo. After a fierce battle, Kyle distracts them and escapes, but the group recovers the airliner. Shara concludes that the pirates' base must be somewhere inaccessible by an airliner the size of the Lindy, explaining the need for smaller transport craft. Before they can pursue this lead, General Morgan and his troops arrive, accusing the group of colluding with the pirates and throwing them into a cell at Hawken Gate. In their cell, Shara speculates that someone inside the military might be working with the Sky Pirates. Their discussion is interrupted by Olivier, who's locked in the cell next door for stealing an expensive bottle of wine. The next morning, Mayor Maybell arranges their release. General Morgan admits he once served alongside Cassius and resents his decision to leave the army for the bracers. But because of their relation to Cassius, he has no reason to question Estelle and Joshua's innocence. At Maybell's request, he also frees Olivier, since the stolen wine came from her own restaurant. Back in Bose, Olivier proposes he assists the group with the investigation in exchange for the wine he drank, to which the mayor and the group agree, knowing that they need additional manpower. Additionally, the mayor informs the group that a large-scale robbery took place in the southern block of the city, and the mayor asks the group's help in investigating the matter, as she believes the Sky Pirates are also responsible for the robberies. While investigating, the military attempts to bully the group, before the intervention of Colonel Richard from the Intelligence Division reminds them that the military is supposed to work with the bracers. As a result of the investigation, the group questions the fact that eyewitnesses saw the pirates exiting from the West Gate, since there are better targets at the West Gate. Additionally, a fisherman told stories of strange people hanging out late at night near Kingfisher Inn, far south of the city on Valeria Lake. Thinking this could be the real source of the robbery, the group heads south to investigate the Kingfisher Inn. Speaking with the fisherman Lloyd, the two figures near the inn were a man and woman who left heading north towards Bose. The woman appeared to be in a school uniform, indicating it was likely Josette. Finally, Lloyd heard the duo stating they would be back tonight. With this information in hand, the group decides to stay the night and stake out the situation. That night, after putting Olivier to bed after losing a drinking contest with Shira, the group observes a meeting between the Capulet siblings and a suspicious military unit. Since the siblings are distracted, the group decides to seek out the Capulet airship, finding it parked outside the Amber Tower nearby. Joined by Olivier, the group decides to sneak aboard the airship to locate the Sky Pirate hideout. After arriving at the hideout, the group searches the area and locates the airliner hostages, but with no Cassius Bright among them. Turns out Cassius decided to disembark from the Linde just before it took off. Searching further, they find the Capula family, and the group observes a discussion between Don Capula and the siblings. Don explains that despite the ransom money being paid, they'll have to kill the hostages, much to the dismay of the siblings. At that time, the group decides to rush in and confront the Capula family. After defeating them, Don Capula appears not to remember the last few weeks and has an entirely different demeanor. Before anyone can make sense of it, Kyle is able to create a distraction in the Capulas attempt to make their run for the airship. However, they're met by Colonel Richard, General Morgan, and the army. Colonel Richard commends the group for their assistance in securing the hideout. The group returns to Bose to report on the events, much to the joy of Mayor Maybell. Old Man Lugren congratulates the group and awards Estelle and Joshua with a recommendation from the Bose branch, their second of 5 recommendations to become senior bracers. Finally, a letter from Cassius Bright that was aboard the airliner Lindy is delivered to Estelle and Joshua, along with a parcel addressed to Cassius. Cassius explains that he ran into a bit of trouble and won't return for a while, but encourages them to do what they believe is right, whether it's staying enrollment or working to become senior bracers. The parcel is more mysterious, containing a strange black ordnance and a cryptic memo. Joshua proposes that he and Estelle continue their journey to become senior bracers, and maybe they'll learn more about what Cassius is up to, or the purpose of this black ordnance. Joshua and Estelle then accompany Shara and Olivier to the airport, where they plan to return to Roland. And that's it for this segment of Trails in the Sky, first chapter. I'm probably going to say this a few times during this series, but I've always really enjoyed this segment. Getting to go full detective mode, chasing after sky pirates, just hits the right adventuring niche for me. The game also continues to do a great job of foreshadowing, both with current events and later chapters. For instance, here we get to see the Capula siblings discussing how Don is acting strange, which comes full circle during the climax, where it appears he's being controlled in some manner. I also have to say, the story summary really doesn't do justice to the character moments along the way, like the little moments about Joshua feeling unable to open up to Estelle, and that's nothing compared to the moments with Olivier, who is just the best Trails character. Finally, something I forgot to mention in the previous segment, but the bonuses you get from successfully cooking a recipe for the first time really gives a good incentive to focus on completing those recipes. I don't believe this was in the original version, as I remember just avoiding cooking entirely, even throughout the rest of the series. So that's it for this segment of the RPG Club. If you want to follow along with the club, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see new videos when they're posted. Additionally, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I have links to my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord in the description below. See you all next time!